The courtroom door creaked open like a gunshot in the tense silence, and every head snapped toward the intruder. A tall stranger in a rumpled trench coat, his face shadowed by exhaustion and grief. "I'm sorry," he said, voice cracking like thunder over the Hudson. "But Edward named me his husband in that will you're all tearing apart." Alex's heart slammed against his ribs as the lawyer's gavel hovered midair, the family portraits on the wall seeming to lean in, whispering secrets long buried in the marble halls of their Manhattan empire. Rain lashed the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 52nd floor conference room, mirroring the storm brewing inside. Alexander Alex Harrington III gripped the edge of the polished oak table, knuckles white, as his Aunt Evelyn's voice sliced through the air like a switchblade. "This is preposterous." Dad was straight as an arrow, devoted to Mother until her dying breath. But the lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, adjusted his bifocals with trembling hands, unfolding the crisp vellum document that had just upended their world. The marriage was legal, solemnized in Vermont 12 years ago. Mr. Elias Thorne is the surviving spouse, entitled to half of the estate. Elias Thorne. The name hung in the air like smoke from a cigar Edward used to savor on the terrace, overlooking Central Park. Alex stared at the man now slouched in the doorway, water dripping from his coat onto the Persian rug that had cost more than most people's homes. He was maybe 38, with sharp cheekbones etched by loss, hazel eyes that darted like a cornered animal's, and a faint scar tracing his jawline, the kind that spoke of bar fights or bad decisions in dimly lit Brooklyn lofts. Not the type to waltz into Harrington Holdings and claim the throne. Yet here he was, the ghost in the machine, the crack in the family armor. The room erupted. Uncle Victor, red-faced and vein-popping, slammed his fist down. A hoax. Dad was a pillar of Wall Street. Golf with senators, boardrooms with billionaires. He wouldn't. He couldn't. His words dissolved into sputters as Cousin Lila, ever the opportunist in her designer sheath, leaned forward with a predatory gleam. "We need DNA tests, audits, everything. This bum could be anyone." But Elias didn't flinch. He stepped fully inside, shedding his coat like a skin, revealing a simple black sweater clinging to a lean, runner's build. "I loved him," he said simply, and in that moment, Alex saw it. The raw edge of truth, unpolished and unbreakable. Alex's mind reeled, fragments of memory colliding like subway cars at rush hour. Edward Harrington, the titan who'd built a real estate empire from a single tenement in Hell's Kitchen, had always been larger than life. Booming laugh, firm handshakes, the patriarch who taught Alex to tie a Windsor knot and negotiate like a shark. But there were gaps, silences. The late nights at the office that stretched into dawns, the business trips to the countryside that left him humming show tunes under his breath. Alex had chalked it up to the grind, the loneliness of success. Now, staring at Elias, he wondered how many lies they'd all swallowed whole. "Let's adjourn," Hargrove suggested, his voice a lifeline in the chaos. "Mr. Thorne, if you'll join us tomorrow for verification." Elias nodded, but his eyes locked on Alex's across the table, a fleeting bridge in the battlefield. As the family filed out, Evelyn hissing accusations under her breath, Alex lingered, compelled by something he couldn't name. "You knew him," he said, not a question. Elias paused at the door, rain-streaked face softening just a fraction. "Better than anyone. And he knew you, Alex. That's why he left you the letters." Then he was gone, swallowed by the elevator's ding, leaving Alex with a manila envelope thrust into his hand by the lawyer, sealed with Edward's unmistakable scrawl. That night, in his cramped Chelsea walk-up that smelled of takeout Thai and unfulfilled dreams, Alex cracked the seal. The apartment was a far cry from the Harrington penthouse he'd grown up in, a deliberate rebellion after college. Exposed brick walls plastered with indie band posters, a futon sagging under law books from his endless pursuit of a pro bono career that paid in purpose, not paychecks. He poured a scotch, Edward's brand, Macallan 18, and sank onto the floor, pages spilling like autumn leaves. "My dearest Alex, if you're reading this, I've shuffled off this mortal coil, as your mother used to quip from her Sondheim phase. I wish I could be there, clapping you on the shoulder, telling you it's all bullshit. The money, the legacy, the feuds. But truths have a way of outliving us, don't they? Elias is the best part of me. The man who saw through the boardroom bluster to the boy who cried at ET because he feared losing his own heart. Marry for love, son. Not for the empire. And forgive me for the shadows I cast. They're lifting now. Your dad, Edward. Tears blurred the ink, hot and unexpected. Alex had always sensed the distance. The way Edward's hugs lingered a beat too long, then pulled away sharp. But love? Hidden? Fierce? Spanning decades? It rewrote everything. By dawn, with the city stirring below like a beast shaking off sleep, Alex knew he had to find Elias. Not for the will, not for the fight, but for the man who'd held his father's secrets, and maybe, just maybe, could unlock his own. The next morning brought gridlock on the FDR drive, horns blaring like accusations as Alex's cab inched toward Midtown. He'd texted Hargrove for Elias's contact, a terse proxy address in Greenwich Village, and now his pulse thrummed with a mix of dread and curiosity. What kind of man steals a fortune with a ring? Or wins a heart walled off by Wall Street? The cab dropped him at a brownstone cafe, all ivy and ironwork, where Elias sat at an outdoor table nursing a black coffee, sketchbook open to half-finished cityscapes. "You're early," Elias said, not looking up, but his pencil stilled. Alex slid into the chair opposite, the envelope clutched like a talisman. Couldn't sleep. The letters, they hit hard. Elias's gaze lifted then, hazel depths flecked with gold like sunlight on the East River. Up close, he was arresting. Faint laugh lines crinkling at the corners, a day's stubble silvering his chin. An artist, Alex guessed. Hands stained with charcoal, nails bitten short. He wrote me dozens. Poems, mostly. Bad ones, but honest. A ghost of a smile. Your dad had rhythm, but no meter. They talked haltingly at first, the words a dam breaking. Elias was from Philly originally, a starving sculptor who'd crashed Edward's gallery opening in Soho 15 years back, mistaking it for a free wine night. He bought my worst piece, a lopsided bust of Apollo out of pity, or so I thought. Their eyes had met across the crowd, Edward in his Brooks Brothers armor, Elias in ripped jeans and a paint-splattered tee. What started as banter over Merlot bloomed into stolen weekends in the Catskills, where Edward shed his suit for flannel and they hiked trails hand in hand, no pretenses. But the family? Alex pressed, stirring sugar into his latte he didn't want. Elias's jaw tightened, scar pulling taut. He was terrified. The Harringtons, old money, old rules. Coming out meant losing the board, the respect, maybe you kids. Alex winced. He was an only child, the golden heir who'd idolized a mirage. We kept it quiet. Vermont for the wedding, small. Just us and a JP who didn't ask questions. But he fought for more. Pushed me to exhibit. Funded that studio in Red Hook without a trace. As the sun climbed, burning off the morning mist, Alex felt the pull. A magnetic grief shared, stitching them closer. Elias sketched idly, lines flowing into a quick portrait of Alex. Sharp jaw, thoughtful eyes, the weight of inheritance in his slouch. "You look like him," Elias murmured. "The good parts." Heat flushed Alex's cheeks, unbidden. He dated women in college, safe and scripted, but always felt the script fraying. Lately, bar glances lingered too long on broad shoulders, easy laughs. Was this inheritance too? A door cracked open? The family reconvened that afternoon in Hargrove's oak-paneled office, the air thick with leather and suspicion. Victor paced like a caged bull, Lila scrolling her phone for scandalous precedents, Evelyn dabbing at dry eyes with a monogrammed hanky. "We'll contest," Victor growled as Elias entered, Alex trailing like a reluctant shadow. "Bigamy, fraud, whatever sticks." Hargrove cleared his throat. "The marriage holds. Vermont recognizes it fully. And Edward's codicil is ironclad. Half to Elias, the rest divided, with Alex as executor." Chaos reignited. Lila lunged for the document. "This is emotional blackmail," Evelyn wailed. "He betrayed us all." But Elias stood firm, voice steady as the Brooklyn Bridge. Your brother was braver than you know. He built this for family, not the blood kind, but the chosen. Alex stepped forward, heart pounding. Enough. Dad wanted peace, not this circus. We'll honor it. The room froze, betrayals flickering in their stares. Victor's greed, Lila's ambition, Evelyn's denial. Alex met Elias's eyes, a silent pact forming. Yet as they spilled onto Park Avenue, the real storm hit. A tabloid van idled curbside, paparazzi swarming like locusts. Harrington airs gay bombshell, screamed a headline on a photographer's tablet. Leaks Lila's doing, no doubt. Elias paled, shoving hands into pockets. I told him this would blow up someday. Alex grabbed his arm, steering him into a side alley fragrant with garbage and garlic from a nearby deli. Run with me? My place, it's got a back door. The cab ride blurred into urgency, rain resuming in sheets. At Alex's building, they tumbled inside, dripping and breathless, the door slamming like a full stop. Elias leaned against the wall, chest heaving. Why help me? I'm the villain in their script. Alex flicked on a lamp, casting warm pools on the cluttered space. Because you're real. And maybe, I get it now. He handed Elias a towel, fingers brushing, electric, tentative. Elias dried his face, emerging with a vulnerability that cracked Alex open. He said you'd be the one to understand. The son with the soft heart under the suit. They talked until midnight, scotch loosening tongues. Elias shared stories. Edward's first awkward kiss in a Vermont inn, fumbling like teenagers. The night he proposed with a ring from a pawn shop, vowing eternity over campfire esmores. Laughter mingled with tears, Alex confessing his own fractures. Failed engagements that felt like dress rehearsals. The gnawing sense of otherness in boardrooms of straight-laced suits. I thought it was me. Broken. Elias reached across the futon, hand hovering before clasping Alex's. Love doesn't break, Alex. It bends. The touch lingered, a spark in the dim light. Alex's breath caught as Elias leaned in, not rushing, just there. Hazel eyes questioning. Consent hung unspoken, then given in a nod. Their lips met soft, exploratory, tasting of salt and scotch, the world narrowing to the stolen breath. It wasn't fire, but embers warm, promising more. They pulled back, foreheads touching, Elias whispering, Your dad would approve. Alex smiled, fragile. He already did. But dawn brought daggers. Victor's call at 6 a.m. Lawyers incoming. We're freezing assets, Elias gets nothing. The betrayal stung fresh. Family, fractured by fear. Alex dressed in armor. A crisp button down, while Elias paced, sketching furiously to steady nerves. I don't want the money, just the man it came from. At Hargrove's, the ambush waited. Victor with a PI dossier, photos grainy but damning. Elias at Pride parades, Edward's arm blurred in the crowd. Blackmail material, Victor sneered. Settle out of court, or we drag your dirty laundry through the post. Elias's face drained of color, scar blanching white. You think shame stops love? Your brother died free because of me. Alex surged up, voice thunder. Back off, Vic. This ends now. But Lila smirked, sliding a folder across. Forged amendments, dated pre-marriage, naming her as beneficiary. Dad signed this. Elias? A phase. Forgery, obvious to Alex's trained eye, ink bleeding wrong, but the seed of doubt wormed in. Outside, under leaden skies, Elias confronted him. Is it true? Did he waver? Alex's gut twisted. No, but they won't stop. Elias's eyes shuddered. Then walk away, Alex. Save your name. He turned, coat flapping like wings, vanishing into the subway grate. Alex chased, but the train's roar swallowed him, leaving echoes of what-ifs. Days blurred into a haze of depositions and denials. Alex pored over records in his firm's fluorescent tomb, uncovering the truth. Edward's quiet bequests to LGBTQ shelters, hidden under shell companies. Love letters tucked in safe deposit boxes, verses Elias had inspired. The forgeries crumbled under forensic scrutiny. Lila's desperation exposed. Victor's complicity in the leak. But victory tasted ash. Elias had ghosted. Phone dead. Studio dark when Alex staked it out one rainy night. Desperation drove him to Philly, Elias's hometown, tracing threads to a gallery in Fishtown. Raw brick walls hung with urban sculptures. Elias's name on a solo show. The artist stood amid his work, chisel in hand, chipping at marble that evoked Edward's profile. "You came," Elias said, surprise softening to relief. Alex crossed the space, rain pooling at his feet. "Couldn't let them win. Or lose you." Elias set down the tool, drawing him close. "The will's not the inheritance. This is." Their kiss deepened, rain forgotten, a vow in the workshop's dust. Back in New York, the climax crashed like a wave. The reading's finale in the penthouse, family assembled under crystal chandeliers. Hargrove unveiled the final codicil. "To Alex, my son, the penthouse and my shares, not for wealth, but to build bridges where I burned them. Love boldly." Victor slunk away, disgraced. Lila, tear-streaked, whispered apology. Evelyn, breaking first, embraced Elias. "He was happy with you. That's enough." In the quiet aftermath, Alex and Elias stood on the terrace, city lights winking like conspirators. "What now?" Alex asked, hand in hand. Elias grinned, that scar-catching moonlight. "Now we live. No shadows." They kissed under the stars, the empire theirs not to conquer, but to heal. Edward's whisper lingered in the wind. Forgiveness, love, the bend not the break. And in America's beating heart, two men claimed their story, unbroken. The autumn leaves in Central Park swirled like confetti from a forgotten parade as Alex and Elias walked the path Edward once called his sanctuary. It was their first real outing post-feud. The air crisp with the scent of roasted chestnuts from a vendor's cart, the skyline jagged against a watercolor sky. Elias's hand brushed Alex's, tentative at first, then interlacing fingers. A public declaration, small but seismic. "Feels strange," Elias admitted, voice low. "No hiding." Alex squeezed back, the warmth seeping into bones chilled by weeks of winter courtrooms. "Good strange. Like coming home." They'd moved into the penthouse tentatively, boxes half unpacked amid Edward's relics. A jazz vinyl collection stacked by the turntable. A faded photo of young Edward arm-in-arm with college buddies, grins wide and unknowing. Elias had claimed the studio space, transforming it with canvases and clay, while Alex balanced executor duties with his firm's caseload. Now laced with pro bono appeals for queer youth, a nod to the man who'd shaped him. Nights were theirs. Cooking pasta in the chef's kitchen, Elias's laughter booming as sauce splattered, Alex's head on his shoulder during late-night documentaries on hidden histories. But peace, Alex learned, was a fickle guest in Harrington halls. Whispers followed them at galas, Victor's allies nursing grudges in smoky lounges. One evening, over bourbon at the Oak Room, a silver-haired investor cornered Alex. "Your father's legacy, tainted now. Investors spook easy." The words landed like hooks, tugging at insecurities Alex thought buried. That night, as Elias slept, Alex paced the living room, staring at the will's copy on the coffee table. Half the empire to a stranger, had Edward known the cost? Elias sensed the shift at breakfast, sunlight slanting through blinds like accusatory fingers. "Talk to me," he urged, forgoing his usual sketch for undivided eyes. Alex set down his fork, eggs congealing. "It's stupid. Just echoes. What if they push back? What if I'm not enough?" Elias stood, rounding the island to cup Alex's face, thumbs tracing jawlines that mirrored his father's. "You are. We are." Edward bet on that. But doubt lingered, a shadow in Alex's smile. The first real crack came via email, innocuous at first. An invitation to the Harrington Foundation's annual gala, black tie, proceeds for traditional family values. Lila's name on the footer, her olive branch post-scandal. "Come," she texted Alex privately. "Show unity." Elias scoffed over takeout lo mein. Trap. But Alex, ever the bridge builder, insisted. One night, for Dad's memory. The plaza's ballroom glittered like a jewel box, chandeliers dripping light onto gowns and tuxes, the air humming with strings and schmooze. Elias looked devastating in a slim charcoal suit, silver cufflinks glinting. Edwards, unearthed from a drawer. Alex's navy-peaked lapels hit his nerves as they entered arm in arm, heads turning like sunflowers to scandal. Evelyn air-kissed cheeks, her pearls a armor. "Darling, you clean up." But Victor lurked by the bar, eyes cold as the martini in his fist. The toast came midway, Lila at the podium, voice honeyed. "To Edward, visionary and family man." Applause rippled. Then she paused, gaze locking on Elias. "And to new chapters, may they honor the old." Subtle, but the room's temperature dropped. Whispers snaked. "That artist's riding high." Harrington blood diluted. Elias's grip tightened on Alex's elbow, knuckles paling. "Told you." They slipped to the balcony for air, the city a sprawl of neon veins below. "It's poison," Elias muttered, lighting a rare cigarette, a habit from lean years. Smoke curled like questions. Alex pulled him close, foreheads touching amid the hush. "Screw them. We're the chapter now." Their kiss was fierce, claiming space in the night, but as they parted, a figure emerged from the shadows. Victor, glass in hand, smirk oily. "Touching," he drawled, "but blood's thicker. Sign this, cede Elias's share quietly, or the foundation pulls funding from your little pet projects." He thrust a folder, edges crisp. Alex's stomach plummeted. The pro bono arm relied on those grants, lifelines for kids like he'd once been. Confused, cornered, Elias snatched it, scanning clauses that stripped him bare. "Over my dead body." Victor chuckled. "Your call." But Alex here's got a soft spot for strays. The ultimatum hung as they fled the gala, cabs slicing through traffic to the sanctuary of home. Elias hurled the folder into the fireplace, flames devouring the betrayal. "He thinks he can buy us out? Like Edward was a stock tip." Alex sank onto the rug, head in hands. "It's not just money. It's leverage on me, on what I build." Elias knelt, fierce. "Then build without it. We're not pawns." But sleep evaded them, bodies entwined yet minds adrift, the empire's weight pressing like a shroud. Weeks ground on, Victor's shadow lengthening. Leaks hit the trades. Harrington rift deepens, air at odds with mystery spouse. Investors balked, shares dipped. A 2% tremor, but enough to rattle boardrooms. Alex's firm partner pulled him aside in a glass-walled conference. Clientele's murmuring. "Tone it down, Harrington." "Tone down love?" Alex seethed, storming to the Red Hook studio where Elias hammered bronze, sweat slicked and unyielding. "I can't breathe in this," Alex confessed, voice breaking. Elias paused, mallet down, pulling him into an embrace reeking of metal and musk. "Then exhale. With me." They made slow, deliberate love on the workbench. Not frantic, but anchoring, bodies mapping forgiveness in whispers and sighs. Afterward, tangled in dropcloths, Elias traced Alex's spine. "Remember the letters. Love boldly. That's the will that matters." Emboldened, Alex countered Victor publicly. A press release framing the marriage as Edward's triumph, not tragedy. "My father taught me integrity," it read. "Today we honor it fully." The backlash roared, op-eds decrying woke inheritance, pickets at the tower. But allies emerged, queer philanthropists pledging to the foundation, board members who'd suspected Edward's secrets and sighed relief. The confrontation brewed to boil at Thanksgiving, Evelyn's insistence on family healing at the Hamptons estate. A sprawling shingle-style manse facing the Atlantic, waves crashing like unresolved chords. The table groaned under turkey and fixings, tension thick as gravy. Lila picked at her plate, eyes downcast. Victor carved with theatrical flair. "To kin," he toasted, gaze skewering Elias. "Blood and otherwise." Elias met it head-on. "To choices, the ones that define us." Silence stretched, broken by Evelyn's fork clinking. Edward chose you, she said softly. I see that now. Victor's face purpled. Chose to lie. To us, to the name. He shoved back, chair scraping. Sign the papers, Elias, or I'll bury you in court. Affidavits from friends who say you coerced him. The room ignited. Alex bolted up. Enough. Those friends are your cronies, paid to perjure. Lila gasped, confirming it with a flinch. Evelyn rose, voice steel. Out, Victor. You've poisoned enough. But Victor lunged, snatching a letter from the sideboard. One of Edward's, pilfered. This proves nothing. He was senile, manipulated. Elias snatched it back, paper crumpling. Manipulated? I held him through chemo, read to him when words failed. You? Golfed in Florida. The words landed like punches, Victor staggering. In the melee, a side table toppled, crystal shattering. A metaphor too on the nose. Alex pulled Elias back, shielding him as Victor stormed out, door slamming like finality. In the aftermath, cleanup became catharsis. Shards swept, truths aired. Lila confessed her forgeries, tearful. I wanted security, not this. Evelyn hugged Elias, whispering, welcome truly. As snow dusted the dunes outside, Alex and Elias walked the beach, boots crunching shells. We survived, Alex breathed. Elias stopped, pulling a small box from his pocket. A new ring, simple platinum. More than that. We begin. Their engagement, announced quietly in spring, bloomed amid cherry blossoms in the park. The wedding was Vermont Redux, intimate under oaks where Edward and Elias had vowed. Alex's vows echoed his father's. In shadows and light, I choose you. No empire, just echoes, love's quiet roar. Yet humanism whispered in the margins. Victor, exiled but unbowed, sent a card. Regrets. Heal without me. Lila volunteered at the shelter, finding purpose in amends. And Edward's legacy? Repurposed. Towers turned co-ops for artists. Funds for hidden loves to emerge. Years on, with a son adopted from the system. Curly-haired Jamie, all questions and cuddles. Alex watched Elias sketch by the window, city humming below. Worth the storm? Elias asked, eyes twinkling. Alex kissed his temple. Every drop. The will's whisper had become a symphony, dramatic, gay-capping, eternally romantic. Summer haze baked the city, air conditioners groaning like weary commuters as Alex navigated the subway to Elias's Red Hook show. It was a milestone. Shadows bent, sculptures of twisted metal and marble evoking fractured facades yielding to grace. Alex arrived slick with sweat, tie loosened, to a crowd buzzing. Critics in linen, collectors with checkbooks, a smattering of Harrington holdouts testing waters. Elias spotted him across the loft, apron dusted white, grin splitting his face. You made it. Alex weaved through admirers, stealing a quick kiss that drew murmurs. Progress or prying eyes? Wouldn't miss bending your shadows. The pun landed lame, but Elias laughed, genuine, pulling him to the centerpiece. A dual-form piece, two torsos emerging from one base, hands outstretched yet connected. Inspired by us, Elias explained to a knot of guests. Love as alchemy. Base to beautiful. Alex swelled with pride, but unease prickled. Victor's absence loomed, a ghost at the feast. Whispers confirmed. He decamped to Palm Beach, nursing wounds with golf and grudges. Rumors of a countersuit brewing. The opening blurred into after hours. Champagne flutes clinking, jazz from a corner sax, Elias's hand warm on Alex's lower back. They slipped away to the rooftop, city lights sprawling like a promise kept. This is us, Alex said, gesturing to the skyline Edward had conquered. Elias leaned on the parapet, wind tousling silver strands. And what he built, for moments like these. But Dawn's email shattered the idyll. Hargrove, urgent. Victor's filing. Alleges undue influence. Claims Edward's marriage invalidated by mental decline. Alex's coffee turned bitter. Elias read over his shoulder, jaw clenching. Bastard won't quit. They dressed in silence, the loft's high ceilings echoing isolation. Court reconvened in federal drag, the same downtown chamber where it began, now sweltering under fluorescent glare. Victor, tanned and tailored, took the stand with rehearsed pathos. My brother was a titan until this opportunist clouded his judgment. Affidavits piled. A doctor attesting dementia, discredited, but damning. Witnesses to Elias's manipulations. Paid plants? Alex knew. Elias testified midweek, voice steady as he recounted their life. The chemo vigils, Edward's lucid insistence on the will. He was sharp as ever, quoted Frost. Nothing gold can stay, but our gold endured. The judge, a no-nonsense Latina with salt and pepper bun, nodded thoughtfully. But Victor's lawyer pounced. You profited, Mr. Thorne, from a vulnerable man. Elias's scar twitched. Love isn't profit. This payment in full. Alex watched from the gallery, heart in throat, flashbacks to that first door creak. His turn came Friday, suit starched, words measured. My father chose authenticity in his final acts. Elias enabled that, not exploited. Cross-exam dug deep. And your involvement, convenient timing. Alex met the barb. Love recognizes itself. That's all. Adjournment dragged weekends into agony. They escaped to the Catskills cabin Edward once rented for hunts. Really, their love nest. Now Alex's keychain heirloom. Wood smoke curled from the stone hearth as they hiked, Jamie's adoption papers fresh in Alex's briefcase. Think he'll like it here? Elias asked, backpack slung, eyes on the trail. Alex, carrying their toddler in a carrier, chuckled. Dirt and dogs? Instant yes. Jamie babbled, tiny fists waving at butterflies, a future unshadowed. But Victor's ploy peaked that night. A leaked audio, Edward's voice slurred from pain meds. Elias, don't let them take. Edited, damning. Headlines screamed, dying wish or coercion? Protests swelled outside the courthouse, rainbow flags clashing with suits. Alex fielded calls from donors pulling back, his partner suggesting discreet leave. Elias found him in the cabin's loft, staring at moonlit pines. We're drowning. Alex pulled him down, bodies aligning like puzzle ends. Then we float. Together. Their lovemaking was urgent, reclaiming agency in gasps and grips, whispers of mine against skin. Morning brought resolve. Counter-evidence, Edward's full recordings, affidavits from true doctors. The verdict dropped like summer thunder. Marriage upheld, suit dismissed with sanctions on Victor. Frivolous pursuit, the judge ruled. Undermining familial bonds it purports to protect. Cheers erupted in the hall, Evelyn hugging Elias fierce, Lila toasting with tears. Victor slunk away, defeated, later mailing a check, reparations, and signed apology. Relief washed them to Fire Island, a rented dune cottage where waves lapped like lullabies. Jamie built sandcastles, Elias sketched shorelines, Alex read briefs by firelight. Humanity wins, Elias said one sunset, toes in surf. Alex nodded, ring glinting. Ours does. Yet the arc bent further. Victor's stroke, months later, confined to a Palm Beach facility. Alex visited alone, sterile room smelling of antiseptic and regret. Why? Victor rasped, tubes snaking. Alex sat, unflinching. For Dad. For us. Victor's eyes welled. Feared losing it all. Lost more. Handshake. Frail bridge. Forgiveness, not absolution. Back home, with Jamie's laughter echoing, Alex and Elias planned expansions. A Harrington wing at the shelter, art programs for at-risk youth. Edward's empire humanized bricks to homes, dollars to dreams. One crisp fall eve, years layered like leaves, they danced in the penthouse to Edward's Sinatra vinyl, Jamie asleep upstairs. The stranger, Alex murmured, cheek to Elias's. Best plot twist. Elias spun him, laughing. Happily bent ever after. Winter gripped Manhattan like a reluctant lover. Snow blanketing the avenues in hush as Alex bundled Jamie for the holiday lights in Bryant Park. Elias trailed, camera in hand. His new passion, capturing candid joys amid the grit. Smile sprout, he cooed, Jamie's mittened hand waving at twinkling reindeer. Alex watched them, heart full. The artist, the boy, the life they'd forged from fracture. The foundation thrived, gala that year themed bridges. Proceeds smashing records. Victor's empty chair a silent nod to mending. Evelyn emceed, voice warm. To Edward's vision, realized in love. Lila, sober 6 months, shared her story from the podium. Vulnerability met with applause. Redemption slow burn, but real. Privately, shadows lingered. Elias's nightmares woke them some nights. Dreams of Edward fading, hands slipping. He'd be proud. Alex soothed, tracing scar to soothe. Elias clung tighter. Of you, yeah, the man who stayed. Their bond deepened in quiet ways. Morning runs along the reservoir, elbows brushing. Evenings debating exhibits over Pinot. Passions igniting debates that ended in bed, bodies eloquent where words faltered. Spring bloomed with announcement. Jamie's school play, a pint-sized Hamlet pondering, to be or not to be queer. They sat front row, Elias tearing up at curtain call, Alex whooping loudest. Post-show ice cream, sticky chins and giggles, Elias leaned in. This, us, it's the will fulfilled. Alex nodded, spoon paused. No more strangers. But fate, dramatic to the end, scripted a twist. A letter arrived, postmarked Palm Beach. Victor, handwriting shaky. Inside, a key to a safe deposit box. Note clipped, truths for the boy. V. Curiosity over caution, they drove down, Elias at wheel, Alex navigating, Jamie's booster seat songs a soundtrack. The box yielded journals, Edward's scrawl dense. Entries from 80s AIDS vigils, guilt over silences. Love letters to Elias, vivid as oils. And photos. Victor, young, arm around a man. Faded Polaroid, beach bonfire, kiss stolen. Uncle Vic. Alex breathed. Elias flipped pages. Confessions of his own hidden life, fear mirroring Edward's. Brothers in closets. They confronted gently, summer visit to the facility. Victor, frail in robe, eyes sharpening. Burned mine, kept his, for you. Why the suit? Jealousy. Saw what I lost. Tears tracked. Elias clasped hand. No more losing. Victor nodded, whisper. Love you both. Tell Jamie. Uncles forgive. Healing rippled. Family therapy in Central Park. Evelyn's stories of their mother's suspicions. Lila's art therapy sketches blooming bold. Victor relocated north, weekly visits with Jamie, cribbage games. Tales of boyhood mischief with Edward. Climax crested that fall. Elias's retrospective at MoMA. Whispers made stone. Career apex. Alex curated the catalog. Words weaving their tale sans salacity. Romance as revolution. Opening night. Throng included all. Victor in wheelchair. Beaming. Evelyn toasting. Jamie in tiny tucks. Declaring, Daddy's art is cool. Post-reception. Alone on the museum roof, city aglow, Elias pulled Alex close. From will to this. Alex kissed him slow, snowflakes dusting lashes. Eternal claws. Years wove on, humanistic tapestry. Jamie's coming out at 16, supported seamless. Foundation global, shelters in every borough. Edward's portrait hung in the penthouse, eyes twinkling approval. On their vow renewal, Vermont oaks again, grayer, wiser. Alex spoke. In betrayal's storm, we found harbor. Elias. And love's the light. Jamie, now man, officiated, voice steady. Guests, chosen family. Cheered as rings exchanged, confetti swirling. The wills whisper. A roar, echoing in laughs. In art. In a son's proud gaze. America's heart, beating bold. Dramatic, suspenseful, eternally romantic. No tragedy, just triumph, bent but unbroken.